Welcome, welcome. Hope everyone is doing wonderful tonight. Hope you're in your pajamas and cozy and comfortable and ready to learn because we've really got some great new things for you. I think they're great new things, but it's not just me. I previewed them on some customers when I was in Boston and we all got all group opinions. So we're in good shape. It's nice to be back in Dallas. But it was wonderful. I was in San Jose, saw wonderful women there in Boston. Oh my gosh, just such it is all about you. It's all about you guys, you know? It's just you make it so rewarding and so much fun for me. I just really enjoy the interactions. I really enjoy hanging out with you all. So it's really a lot of fun. So thank you. Thank you for signing up for workshops and all those kind of fun things. All right, so tonight is March 23rd, 2015. We're going to start traditionally with our 15 minutes questions answers. And if you have any questions, now's the time to ask, and we will do our best to solve them. I did have one lady who asked me if she saw a dress, or she said she saw a dress on a television commercial. And she wanted to she wanted to get her French curve out and stick it on the screen of the television, but she wasn't that fast. So here's our recommendation. A lot of the television commercials you can find on the internet. If you Google what it was for, a lot of them, they put them two places. Once they're on the internet, you can do print screen. It's just a key on your keyboard. It's usually along the top. So once it's on the screen, you just hit print screen. And what print screen does is it copies everything that's on that screen. Then you open up Paint, and Paint is a program, or I guess you could open up anything. You could copy it in Word. Could you copy it in Word, Brett? I guess you could really copy it in anything. Paste it, I'm sorry. Once you've print screen, that's copied it. You can copy and paste. We use Paint a lot because in Paint you can edit it, but you could just copy and paste it, and then it will paste the screen that you copied, and then you can go from there trying to manipulate and figure out where the French curve is. Okay, so I hope that helps you. I use that tons because there's lots of fashions that I'm copying, and the site won't let you download them. They won't let you print them off. They prevent it from doing that, and I can certainly understand why, but that doesn't stop us. We print screen the whole thing, and then we copy it and edit it into Paint, so it works out great. All right, hope that helps. Any other questions that we can answer at this time? A Princess Seam question. On 1350, should the Princess Seam the princess seams are in the front and the back. On 1350, there's princess seams in the front and the back. Princess seams do not go over the bust point. I learned yesterday that you all think they do. Some of you think they do. Princess seams do not go through the bust point. Princess seams go through the bust circle, and they can go anywhere through the bust circle, and they are correct. So as far as placement within the bust circle, that's totally a design choice. It's not a fit choice. The rule is as long as it goes through the bust circle, but it can go anywhere through the bust circle. So generally they're taken to the side of the bust point. I don't know for any reason that you would want a princess seam going right through your nipple. But some people think that's a rule. Some people actually think it's a rule that it has to go right through the bust point. It does not. Okay? All right. Will you walk me through putting in the shoulder pads? I will. I'm going to grab my little sample that I have right there. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Okay, this is my sewing room. So the other day when we were doing some YouTube videos, I stuck everything here. All right, so it's right here. How about that? Okay, so I've used my tie interfacing, and I've set my sleeve in. I put my tie interfacing first. We did a YouTube on this, how to put in that interfacing a couple weeks ago. And then with the sleeve side down, I sew all the way around, and I've got my sleeve now sewn in. I want to press all those seam allowances out into the sleeve. I come along with my shoulder pad. I use a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and so I use that as a guide for my shoulder pad too, because I've got a 3/8 inch seam allowance. That's how far I put my shoulder pad over the stitch line into the sleeve. Place it 3/8. Place the marking on the shoulder pad. Our 1-inch shoulder pads have no marking. They're the same in the front and in the back. Our 1/2-inch shoulder pads have a marking, and the longer side goes to the front because we're concave in the front. That longer side goes to the front to fill in that little bit of hole there. So once I've put the shoulder pad past the stitch line, I flip it over and it will extend and hold. It'll hold the seam out into the sleeve, and it should extend 3/8 out into the seam as well. And then I secure mine in place, and I secured in place in 3 places. One in the front, one in the back, and this doesn't have the princess seam on it, but I would do it once at the base of the neck. If this is too wide, I can trim it down. I don't need all that. So again, don't try to sew it right through here through the thickest point. Just secure it in 3 places so the shoulder pad can't move or stay. Okay? Easy enough? Perfect. My daughter likes the shift dresses from the 60s. She is petite and not many curves. What pattern would be a good start as a base? You know, I've used a lot of them. I've used 600 and made it into a shirt dress. I've done 500 and made it into a tank dress. Really, I would let her, if it's, you know, your daughter, let her pick out a dress she likes, a blouse, and then just lengthen it. It's just really, I think that's the easiest thing to do. You're just adding length all the way around. We've done a couple webcasts on changing blouses into dresses, and you can just follow that. But I would let her pick out the styling. With the swing jacket, I love it, by the way. Are the shoulders supposed to drop off the shoulder line a little bit? No. No, mine drop off about 7/8 of an inch. No, we actually, when I was in Boston, when I was in both places, we fit this jacket several times to several people because everybody really liked it and we were just really having fun. We had a whole big discussion about the swing coat. But everyone, the shoulders came right at like where they would wear a blouse, really, almost. They were not extended at all. I think that's what you mean by drop off. You mean extended. They are not an extended shoulder. You know, I mean, if you like the look, there's nothing wrong with that, but just take your armhole template and just move it in, you know, to where you want it to be. And that will probably raise up the side seam just a little bit, but then you can put the same sleeve in, okay? Will the swing jacket work with a knit? It will, absolutely. You want to get a knit though that's got good body. You know, got a lot of nice drape. You don't want it to be light because if it's that swing coat's got to have drape to it. So use something that's got at least some kind of drapeability to it, some density. Could you tell me how to do a round back adjustment in Betsy's jacket? Not sure how to do it with all those seams. Just cut through them all, just like forget the seams are even there. Start at center back, right about the shoulder blade, and just go all the way, and I would go all the way to the armhole where the raglan sleeve comes in. I would go all the way there and just add it. So don't let the fact that there's seams intimidate you. It's just not done any different than the other way. How about on a shoulder pad on a raglan sleeve? When you do a shoulder pad on a raglan sleeve, the shoulder pad is a raglan shoulder pad. This is not one, but basically, you know, a raglan shoulder pad, I was going to say, I think I might have one there, but I don't see one. But anyway, raglan shoulder pad, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the 2 shoulder pads kind of sewn together, but it's angled. It's angled, and it's angled to be like a shoulder. Okay, so what I do is I just put the jacket on, put the shoulder pad in where it feels comfortable or where I like it to look, and then the raglan sleeve is always going to have a seam up at the top that goes right through the middle of the shoulder. You can secure it right there. You can secure it right here in those 2 places, and that's it. Raglans are much easier just simply because you have, not easier, but there's more seams, so they're a little easier to connect. I'm making shorts using 3400. That's the yoga pant, by the way. My shoulder to waist is 15, shoulder to mid knee is 36. What lengths will look good? And will this change if I do not tuck my shirt in? It doesn't change if you don't tuck your shirt in. Just when you leave your shirt out, you're going to look shorter and wider, just because you're losing the waist. The waist is the, whenever you do proportions, you're using your body parts. I mean, your body naturally has those parts, and those parts are naturally proportioned. So if you bypass one of them, then you're just going to look a little bit shorter and wider. So if your top is 15, then you either do 1 to 1.5 of those to get, which would be 22. That should be your knee. When you give your 36 inches, 2 of those are the waist. So that's, your numbers are off somehow, but they're close. That's okay. How tall was she? She didn't say how tall she was. I think 15 and 36, those two numbers won't go together. I mean, unless there's something proportionally wrong, but most likely if you're 15 or 38, 14 and 36 will go together. But we're going to say it's 14 and 36. How's that? If the top of you is 14, then the waist to knee, that's 2 parts of the 36, and then the 3 parts are 21. 21 and 14 is the 36. Alright, so if you want to make it to the knee, you'd go 14, 1.5 of those is 21, or if you want to go longer, you take 14 and double that, which would be 28. I hope I'm making sense to you all. I feel like I'm just rambling numbers, but the numbers are meaningful, to her who asked the question, okay? Okay. And by the way, you always want to go a shorter short than a longer short. Go knee length as opposed to longer. It's a better look. Is the fabric that you're wearing in your shirt available on your site, and which pattern? It is so cute. Thank you. We love it. This is thanks to Camille. Camille, as Friday we were in the Boston workshop and we were talking fashion and spring fashions and what was popular, and I said boho is really popular, and I said, but I have shopped and shopped and shopped and I have yet to find anything I like, because I really wanted to do something boho. And boho is the whole big hippie thing, that's really trending this summer. It's very strong this summer. There's fringe on shoes, even purses, everything. There's just, it's all over the place. So I really wanted to do something. Anyway, so Camille, one of the gals in the class, said, oh, I have a shirt that I made that has fringe on it and I love it. And I said, no, I don't like it. I've looked at everything. I haven't seen anything I like. So she said, I'll wear it tomorrow. So sure enough, she wore it on Saturday. Everybody liked it, and I copied her. So we did really like it, and yes, I love it too. I think it's adorable. The fabric is on the site. We just put it up probably 10 minutes ago. And we did I'm going to show you how to make it tonight. We had a spring fling group, and that spring fling is $195 is in there, and so this is $195, and I'll show you how I worked through it and got to where we are. Okay? All right? Okay, that's okay. We started a little bit late tonight. On Betsy's jacket, how would you correct a forward shoulder? On Betsy's jacket, there's a seam that comes right up the shoulder, so all you do is take away from the front and add to the back. It's very easy to move it wherever you want it to be. Okay? And how would 3400 be for making culottes? Fine, good. Yoga pant culottes, absolutely. They're in the stores, they're all over the place, except they're about $200. They're expensive. So absolutely, would I do it? Yes. We're going to do culottes, but we're not going to do them tonight. We're going to do them in 2 weeks. That doesn't mean you should not do them. All I want you to do is measure the bottom. Culottes are a big trend for spring. They're not our best look, so I was going to kind of just give you some tips on how to be careful. But if you want to make them and get going on them, by all means, go for it. All right? When you measure for proportions, why do we need to measure our side and not over the bust to the waist? Because our proportions are not deptual, they are only linear. And when we measure over the bust, we get an accurate view of lengths. We get depth built into it, and those numbers are not what we view. We only view in linear. We don't view dimensionally. What silhouette pattern would you suggest for our wedding guest in August in the dry, hot Southwest, and what fabric? I went to a wedding in August and it was really hot, and so I decided to wear a skirt. And what I did was Nick and Zoe's skirt, which is $29.13, And I did a sheer over a lining. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I just, did 2 layers of the whole entire thing, secured it at the waist with just a little fold over elastic, and then I wore just a really lightweight, like a little wrap. So I made the top fabric the same, like a little tank, so it almost looked like a dress, and then I just wore a sheer little overlay with it, and it was, I loved it. It was like perfect. Hope that helps. Okay, last question, a fabric question. Is the red black ribbed sweater knit a true red, or is it slightly pinkish? It's red. It's a blue red actually. It's not pinkish at all. Okay? All right, ladies. Good deal. Ladies and gents. Okay, so let's now talk about spring, because I definitely had way more ideas tonight than I had space and time to put them in. So we're going to talk fast, and I'm going to do as many details as I can so that you all will, just you'll have to replay it, but you can get it and you can watch it and you can follow along. And just let me say on a side note, with our new shift to YouTube, I mean, I still call it new because still the technology is new to us. It's just little weird things sometimes happen. So like tonight, as just something weird came up. So we'll fix it, not to worry, hang tight, be patient, and we'll be there. Okay. Perfect. All right, so hopefully you're seeing lots of great things, lots of fun things. I don't think the styles have ever been so favorable for women. They're comfortable, they're easy. They're easy for all styles and figure types, and they're really wonderful. There's a lot of focus on florals, and it's just a great time. The color of the year is a red. It's a Marsala. It's a deep red. Those type of colors are good on just like anyone. It's like a Marsala wine. It's a deep red wine. Anyway, and so that will go through spring, it'll go through fall, it'll go all year round. So if you have we have some really beautiful burgundy rayon knit on the website, and it's the perfect color. It's just great to do something in. So last week on YouTube, we released a YouTube segment on fold over elastic. The whole reason we did that ahead of this webcast was so that you could see a close-up. So because we know on these webcasts you can't see a close-up, if you reference YouTube you'll be able to see where we did do a close-up. So the very first thing we had, and then I offered a spring fling package of patterns, and those 3 patterns that it ends tomorrow, but many of you have gotten it already. Those 3 patterns are 195, which is the sweater set, 312, Giorgio's top, and 650, the wrap blouse. Now obviously you'll see tonight the reason I did those 3 together. Not only are they really versatile, but they are just tremendous. Now with those patterns, just for general sake, whenever we offer a grouping like that, we don't do any substitutions, and the reason we don't is because we can discount those patterns because we're packaging the same thing over and over and over, and so labor costs go down and we can save a little bit and pass those savings on to you. But if we substitute for one, I'm telling you, it gets out of control really easily. We just can't make those substitutions. Somebody emailed me and wanted to sub out 195. They already had 195. If there was any pattern I'd want 2 of, it should be 195. We use it, personally I use it just over and over and over and over again. So anyway, that's the sale we have going. And so I want to start with this. This is a new fabric we have up. Just absolutely love the fabric. Whenever you get this beautiful blue and this, it's just beautiful. Anyway, this is 195. The only thing I did to it is to lengthen it because it's great with leggings. You could push up the sleeves and have a 3/4, and then all I did was do the fold over elastic. And so you get a close-up on how that fold over elastic is done. The fold over elastic is a great way to finish a top, and for summer you're seeing a lot of it. I don't know why, I'm not sure. Maybe it's always been there and I just haven't seen it, but it's really, really stylish. Okay, so I'm going to go in sequence of pattern. I'm going to stay again with 195. As I mentioned, the fringe is really popular. Hopefully you can see my fringe. And I want to talk about how to do that. So this is pattern number 195. Again, I did lower the neckline. when I looked at Camille, I kind of copied her ideas. Really, the top she had made, she kind of made the pattern, was just terrific. I mean, it was just well thought out. It kind of all was very cohesive. I really appreciate that she was willing to share it with us, because I told her I was going to share it with all of you. So initially I was going to do a pattern, but it was so easy I really wanted to incorporate it to tonight. So I kind of got behind my sewing machine and quickly made it up, and so we could share it. It doesn't need to be a separate pattern. It's very easy to do. So the front and the back are exactly the same, except, I shouldn't say exactly the same, except there's two changes. I lengthened it, so because I wanted to wear my leggings with it, it's longer, and I wanted it to go over my rear end, so it's longer. And then I lowered the neckline. The reason I lowered the neckline is because the top she had on had a very loose feel to it, relaxed, loose feel. And so the neckline, the finish on the neckline is just like if you do ribbing, except instead of doubling it and having a fold right on the edge of that ribbing, there's simply only one layer. So it curls at the neck edge. So all I did was cut a 1-inch wide strip in the greatest direction of stretch. My neckline measured 23 by the time I lowered it. I took a 20-inch strip, I seamed it at the left shoulder, and literally just put right sides together and serged it all the way around and left it. So it just has, I know you can't see it, but it just has a raw edge. Even though it's a binding, it's a raw edge binding. It's a great finish for the neck edge because it really just goes with the whole unfinished. It's not so unfinished that there's not anything, but the binding itself is unfinished and it's left, and it's really nice. Okay, then as far as the sleeve is a 3/4 sleeve. So the very first thing I did is I took my sleeve pattern, and you can see here I cut off the bottom, and I decided my 3/4 was 5 inches off, so I cut off 5 inches off the bottom, and that's what I got. Now keep in mind that there's no hem, it just curls, and so you want to make sure that you put it at the place you want. You can always cut it off a little bit later if you want to. Okay, and then the sleeve itself, you're going to separate into 3 pieces. Now Camille's shirt only had fringe in the front, and I liked it. I really liked it, but I just decided I wanted, and you can see I have 2 layers of fringe. I have a seam in the front and a seam in the back. So I made 2 seams on mine. And you know what? You might want to make it 4. Who knows? You guys, as soon as you get the idea, you guys know you'll do anything you want. So if you notice at the notches, I made vertical cuts. And this piece I left about the same all the way down. The same with this one, right at the notch, and then of course vertical all the way down. I mean, you could slant it, you could do lots of different things, but you'll get the idea. Now, I copied my sleeve. This is a copy of the sleeve. Don't cut your sleeve, because then you're going to add seam allowance to both these pieces. You're going to add seam allowance to both these pieces. Okay, once you have that, and you guys, as we're going along, if you have questions, let me know. If you ask me questions in a week, I'm afraid I won't remember, because there's a lot of this stuff, once I do it, I don't remember the numbers. Okay, then what I did is I cut a rectangle, and the rectangle is 12 inches wide and 11 inches long. Okay, so 11 inches wide, long, sorry, 12 inch. Did I say that? Did I say that right? 12? See, I can't remember tonight, and I did it today. It's actually 11 wide and 12 long is what it is. 11 wide and 12 long. So you're going to cut 4 of those, because there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you use this fabric, it was incredibly easy because it's got stripes on it, and I could just cut along the stripes. It was amazing how easy this was. So I kind of had a guideline. Now, the little tubes are formed because you have to cut with the stretch. When you go to cut your pieces, the stretch has to be going up and down. The greatest part of stretch has to be going up and down. So make sure you do a little swatch and make sure when you cut, because if you cut the opposite direction, they don't make tubes. They just make these silly little things that just hang there, and they look really silly. I mean, they won't make fringe. They'll just look like shredded fabric. So you have to cut in the greatest direction of the stretch. So in this particular fabric, there's little stripes, and that's going around my body, but here That was what was going up and down. Okay? Overall, when you use a fabric, you've got to use a fabric that looks good on both sides, or that it doesn't have to look good on both sides, but you have to like it on both sides. So when I was looking for a fabric and the shirt she had on, you got to look for something that is going to be good from both sides, so your fringe won't have, you know, a bad side to it, if that makes sense. So then when you sew it, you just sew it. I did my French darts, I sewed my shoulder seams, I did my neck edge, I created my sleeves flat. So that means I took and put these right sides together, and then I put the big fringe in between them. In between these two, I put the fringe in between, so that when I did that, the fringe was here. Same with the other side, right sides together, fringe in between here. So I had all this. And now don't cut the fringe until after you've sewn the pieces in. Don't pre-cut the fringe. You'll have fringe going everywhere and it's really hard to control. So just do the rectangle pieces and put them in the middle here, and then I serged it down. Leave maybe an inch or so at the bottom, and you'll have an inch or so at the top as well. Alright? The sleeve is 3 pieces. One's over here, one's the middle, and one's the front. Yep, 3 pieces. And all I did again was trace it off at the notch, go horizontal, go vertical to the bottom. Okay? So then when I actually made it, I set it in just like regular sleeves. I did everything. I sewed the side seam just like regular, but then once I was done, I just stuck it on a table and started cutting. You could use a rotary cutter. I didn't. I just used my little scissors and went all the way up. My cuts were about a ½ inch wide. So I just, and because I had stripes on this, I know you may not be able to see it, but anyway, there's stripes. I just kind of followed. There was a blue stripe that's narrower and a gray stripe that's wider, so I cut halfway through the gray stripe and then right on the blue stripe, and halfway through the gray and right on the blue, and kept going. And I really like it. I really like it. I'm really pleased with it. Thank you so much for letting me steal your shirt, Camille. It was very kind of you. She was very generous. Now everybody can have a hobo shirt. Not a hobo, but you know what I'm saying. All right, any questions on that? Easy enough? I'm going to do one in a dress. I'm going to do one in a black because I have somewhere I want to go, and I want to wear a little black cotton dress, so I think it'll be very cool. Okay, so then that's 112. Just a couple ideas to do with 112. The next one we're going to do is 312. Pattern number 312 is Giorgio's top. It's one of my favorites. This is a new fabric we have. It's called Black Blue Diamonds. Giorgio's top, we had one yesterday. Yvonne is a new sewer, only sewing 8 months. We're so proud of her. Anyway, she was there at the Boston workshop yesterday and just cute as a button. She had this on and she said, how come it's not more peplamy on me? And if it's not more peplamy, it's probably, there's 2 things you can do to make it more peplamy. I don't think that's a word, but anyway, we can take it in at the waist, or when, like I lengthened this and I added 5 inches to the bottom of this, when you lengthen it, just go out and add more. So what makes a peplum is that this portion is greater than this portion, and then of course it just falls together, falls down, and because it is too much to fall down, it just peplums, sticks out. So it's very simple to do. You have lots of seams. In this particular Giorgio's top, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way around. Okay, so now what I did particularly different on this one is I changed the back. Now you got to keep in mind that backs for spring, I don't know why, but backs are just all the rage. They're just really stylish and really popular. They're doing a lot of back treatments. For so many years we just never even did anything to the back, and now they're doing a lot of back treatments. Now I don't know if you can see detail on this, but this is a bow is what this is. You can kind of see there's the middle of the bow here, and then it holds out and then kind of folds down to the side. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. It's adorable. You can see it's freestanding here. It's hooked into the neckline. I also did the fold over elastic here. Again, I wanted to show you that treatment because this is the best way to do this, because this fold over elastic is catching the top of the bow and then the side of that bow. Okay, it's so cute. It's really cute. Alright, these places along here are just points I picked. Now what I did is I I did the center back seam first. So center back seam first, and then you can do all the bow stuff before you even sew on the side panel. All of it can happen. I even can sew on the fold over elastic. I can do all that. So I'm going to put this here and let's walk through how to do this. The first thing I did is I lowered the neckline. So I lowered it down 2 inches. 2 inches here, and I went 2 inches wider as well. No, I went 1.5 inches. I went about 1.5 inches out here, and I went 2 inches down here, just because I wanted the bow to be a little lower than what my hairline is in the back. I wanted the bow to show. So you can kind of base that on the back, but you need, from center back to the shoulder seam, you need at least 5 inches, and I'll show you why here in a minute, but you need about 5 inches. Well, the diamonds act as stripes. They're not. They're too asymmetric that you can't really get a verbal stripe off of them. Like if I turn it around to you, you can't really see, you can't get a stripe out of it. They're just too jagged. Yeah, they're moving. They're really cool. They're definitely not a striped. It's an ITY knit, but it's a little lighter than, I mean, it is an ITY knit, but it's just a little lighter than, which is really nice. It's still really drapey. It's still really dense, and it's a great color. It's a blue and black, and it's got a little bit of white in it, but the lines are too uneven to get a vertical out of it, so I think that's a positive. Okay, so let's go back to the bow for a minute. You understand the only thing I did, I added to the length, and then I lowered the neckline in the back. Okay, then I cut my bow piece, and my bow piece is going to look like this. So this is actually on a fold right here. This is going to be your center back, so it's actually going to be one long piece. This is 26 inches long is what this length is here, from this tip down to here. Now you could change the size of the bow. You could make it bigger. You know, you guys can understand all that. I'm just giving you the basics so you know where to start. So again, it's 26 inches long. I cut it on a stripe just so you could see that this edge right here is the straight edge, and then this is 6 inches in width at the widest part of center back, and then you're just going to curve it in. You can take your French curve. You can see it just curves along the curve and tapers right to nothing right down there. Okay, so in this case your French curve is great for giving it some style and giving it some curve. Okay, easy enough? And again, this piece is on the fold. You want to use a fabric that you like both sides, because both sides are going to show. And then what I did is I did a rolled edge on both sides of this. So starting here all the way to the other end, and then all the way along here I did a rolled edge. Okay? Alright. Now we're going to put it on, and the center back goes, the side that I'm putting on is the curved side, not the straight side. Let me turn this around. The curved side you can see is out, is not being sewn down. It's the straight side that's going to be sewn down and is going to form the bow. So I'm going to take the straight side here, and I'm going to start at center back, and what I was going to do was just kind of pin it to this pattern so you could kind of see what was going on. And then you need it to go 5 inches out. That's why you have to cut the neckline down, because if you don't, Giorgio's neck in the back is too narrow. So any neckline, you could put it on any neckline obviously, but any neckline you put it on is going to have to go 5 inches out. So once I go 5 inches out, I'm going to, this is the edge of the neckline, I'm going to turn it under, I'm going to create a fold right there. Alright, let me pin that. So this is where I'm doing the fold over elastic, and the fold over elastic will hold that little fold under in place. And then once I fold under, this gets stitched down to the top. You don't have to have a seam. That's why I did rolled edges on both sides. I literally just, figured out how wide I wanted it from center back and just literally stitch it down. You're going to do the other one exactly the same, so they're both going to come in at the same amount. If you look at the back, I know you can't see the center back seam, but here's the center back seam. It goes right down the middle, And so I just placed those. Now the bow will naturally, you want to use something that's really nice and drapey, so the bow will drape. And then the last thing you do before you sew it is you're going to make a little the middle, and you want to cut it 3 inches long, and just make a little slider, because this part right here is going to get scrunched up, and you're going to put the bottom of the slider in underneath the fold over elastic, come over, hold the bow up, and put both ends under the fold over elastic. And you're using a really thin fabric, so there's no problem doing it. And you can see that's what creates the bow. This goes over there. This is all held in by that fold over elastic. When I first looked at it and then thought of the fabric I was using, I thought, oh, there's going to be too much under the fold over elastic, but it doesn't. It works beautifully. So don't kind of worry about that. So just again, start at center back and go both directions, 5 inches out, tuck it underneath so that it makes the fold of the bow, and then start stitching somewhere under here. It doesn't matter exactly where you start stitching. This is going to be held by the fold over elastic, and this is going to come all the way down and be stitched in place. All of this is left open so that it's free to ripple, and then you put the tag or the little carrier and put that all under the fold over elastic. So in this case, and the reason I showed you the fold over elastic and both ways to do the fold over elastic is I did the back neck separate from the front neck, because it was much easier to secure all this in and then move on. You could always baste it too. You could always baste it in place so that it stayed. Alright? Easy enough. I love the back. I just think it's classy looking just to have something like that so nicely draped in the back, and then of course the front is great. If you had what now? A blouse on top. I wouldn't wear a blouse over it. No, I wouldn't. I would maybe wear a jacket over it. If you wanted to wear a jacket over it, you could, because it looks very businesslike in the front, and then of course when you took the bow off, it would be a great version. Oh, okay. That's okay. We okay? Alright. So that's 312. Now, other things we've done on 312 in the past, I don't have it here, but we've done different necklines. Giorgio's top is it's just so flattering. It's very easy to make because it's a kimono sleeve, so it's quick and easy and extremely flattering to do. I call it Giorgio's top because it was on the Armani runway. That's where I originally saw it, and it was beautifully done, and again, really flattering to a wide number of ladies. Okay, so next I want to do again a back. We're going to move to now the wrap blouse, which is $6.50, and it's this right here. Alright, so this is a new fabric we also have. We have a lot of new fabrics, you guys, and we've got a few up tonight, and we'll wait because starting tomorrow we're going to have we're going to clear out all the winter fabrics. So we're going to drop some prices and move those things out. And once we get all that done and gone, then we'll put more of the spring fabrics up. We've got a lot. Anyway, this is the wrap blouse. I love this wrap blouse, and this is a knit. This is not a woven. This is, like I said, brand new on the site. It's 100% cotton. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So you're seeing a lot of wrap blouses, and what you're seeing them, instead of just wrapping and tying to one side, they're actually wrapping all the way around and they're tying in the back. So that's what I wanted to do with this one. We put some new kind of, it's not stretch lace, but it's stretchy. But it doesn't have lots and lots of pull, but it has a little bit of pull. So what I wanted to do is I finished the blouse off with this. So the only thing I did different and is that on the one side here, I just stopped stitching, so I serged both sides, both raw edges of the side seam, and then I started stitching, back stitched, and then left an opening, started serging, and continued down. So I didn't serge the side seam. I serged it separately, sewed it together, and left that little slot so that the inside wrap could come through here, and then of course the outside wrap is already there. I could tie it in the back and have that look. Now you could use anything for ties. You could use the same color fabric. I mean, there's limitless things you can see, but I'm seeing a lot of the wrap blouses are actually wrapping through a buttonhole opening or a slit or some kind of opening in the side and then wrapping all the way around. So I wanted to just show you that option. And of course, many of them are knit. And even though the knits are looking like wovens, this is a cotton knit, it's just beautiful. I mean, I know you guys can't feel this fabric, but if you could, be gone in a minute. I mean, it just really is beautiful. Okay, so easy enough for the wrap blouse. Not a lot of things. I just wanted to make sure you saw that they were out there and they was doing a lot of different things with them. No. Well, the styling of the bottom of the dress, yes, has to be a little bit different. But no, the bodies themselves are the same. Of 650 the wrap top and the 4019 Diane's wrap dress. Yes, those bodies are the same. Okay, how we doing? How are our brains? Are you sure? Miscellaneous, they're not pertaining to what we're doing? Okay, so let's go on. I have another one I want to show you. It's not in the group. It's pattern number 600. This was a top I had seen. It was Bailey 44. And remember I told you there was a lot going on with the back of these garments. So in our business wear, you know, women, or not even our business wear, but big for spring are collared shirt, you know, men's shirts, not men's shirts, but shirts of some kind. And so this was a little twist that I really liked, and so I did it for you and I wanted to show it to you. And the front is exactly, there's been no changes to it, but the back has a drape. And so there's a little peekaboo in there, and you can see that there's a little window in the back of the shirt. Now, this was done by Bailey 44. I love the top. I mean, I just loved it because something like this, you can wear a jacket and it looks completely businesslike. Take your jacket off and you get a great sporty look coming out the back. So you need a fabric that you like both sides, because this is one side, this is another side. This is a Zegna, it's men's shirting, and so for me, what I wanted, it was perfect. You can see that there is a little peekaboo here. Now this peekaboo can be backed up and you can show as much back skin as you want to. That's why I'm telling you it's Bailey 44. It's brand new, so you can go on, Google it, you can see it. You can look at all the details. So to make this pattern, what you're going to do is you're going to take the back and you're going to duplicate it. Okay? So you're going to just take it on center fold, copy it, so you get one big back. Then you decide how modest or immodest you want to be. And for me, from the shoulder seam, this is 2 inches. So I took it about halfway is what I decided to do. The one that I saw on the internet was really open, and a little bit makes a big difference. It makes a big difference as to where they cross. They'll cross much lower. So you just have to decide how much back you want to show and how much exposure you want. So you take the back, you duplicate it, and then you cut your line and your design line. And your design line is going to go from how open you want your back to be. It's going to go all the way over to the side seam at the bottom of the blouse. Okay? Then I make a copy of that. So here's my blouse. Here's my back. I duplicated it. Oops, let me see. And then I, cut off my line. Then you duplicate that. You need 2 of these. And you're going to turn them upside down. So this is turned this way and then upside down. And between them you're going to add 2 inches. That'll give you enough for that little curve at the bottom. So this is the same thing we've done with the front, except it's being done with the back. So what will happen is, you'll just cut this piece out one time. This will come up and one side will be here, one side will be here. And that's the look you're going to get. So you take the back, you make one whole back, cut your design line, decide how modest or immodest you want it. Then you make a copy of that. It goes upside down and backwards Leave a little 2-inch rim between the two, and that's your pattern piece. Alright, cut it. You can cut it straight to grain. It really wouldn't matter. I cut it straight to grain because of the stripes, so I wanted it to be a little flowing. Okay, then I briefly want to talk about construction. It's very easy, but you're going to serge your edges here. This piece goes all the way to the side, and once it goes to the side, I secured it into the side seam. So the fold actually ends just a little bit below the side seam, but the side seam picks up the completion of it. So this wraps all the way over to my side, the underneath wraps all the way over to the side. Alright, now again, one other thing, the original had a button here. Now it was lower though, and it had a button, and I thought that was kind of cool because the menswear buttons that come down the front, they had a button there that kind of kept it together. It wasn't even that it kept it together, I just kind of really liked the look. I decided not to put a button because mine was modest enough, I didn't need it, but I just really liked this shirt. I think it's just a great spin on such a great, beautiful, crisp classic for spring. I made mine sleeveless because I want to wear it under a jacket, and you can see you'll have that great look, and then all of a sudden you take it off and it's really playful. Flirty, playful, I think those are great words of what it appeals to, is the strong business sense in the front, and then that play and that little bit of play on the back. Alright, so that I used pattern number 600. There's a myriad of patterns you could have used, but again, when you're sewing on the collar, for the first time I didn't have to worry about would the collar fit the neckline, because you stitch it to there and then there's nothing to fit, and then you start from the other side and stitch it in, and then between the two you just stitch them close. So it was kind of fun that you didn't have to worry about the pieces matching. I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, so Brett mentioned to me that there was questions. I think I've gotten through everything that I have tonight. You've got a lot of work to do, girls. Catch up. What can we answer for you? Okay, how much alteration does the pattern need to be altered from stretchy and non-stretchy fabrics, or when going a little stretched to super stretchy? Let's use examples. Let me use examples here. So this is the wrap blouse, and I went to a slight stretch because this is a cotton. It's a slight stretch. It's a moderate stretch, I'm sorry, and I went down one size. If I would have been doing sleeves, I probably wouldn't have gone down a size at all. I would have just put on my knit armhole and sleeve, because a little extra room is an okay thing. I don't want a wrap to be so small that it won't wrap. So there's definitely some variables here, because it depends on the style of the garment I'm making. It depends on me and kind of what I want it to be like. But in general, when you're going from a woven to super stretchy, that can be 2 sizes. When you're going to a moderate stretch, it can be 1 size. Those are parameters. Don't live by those. Just make sure you kind of consider all your variables and then go from there. Okay? All right. Okay, I want to do a blouson. Which of your patterns would work best for this, and how would I alter the pattern if needed? A blouson is simply when a waist is created by generally gathers by elastic, and length is added so that the blouse bubbles over the elastic. Okay, that's where blouson came from. It's a great look. 615 off the top of my head, if you look at that pattern, we have all those elastic in the waist so that you get that blouson look, but you could do it with anything. And all you have to do is add a little bit for the waist, and generally it's 2 inches. That doesn't mean it's right, but that's kind of a general rule, that if I wanted to add 2 inches, it gives the blouse up 1 inch and over 1 inch is how they come up with those 2 inches. So if I add 2 inches to the waist or below the waist, and I put the elastic where I've at the bottom of the 2 inches where I've added, then I will have that blouson look. And blouson will come back. It's already kind of making its little peak preview. it's so flattering, it's so stylish that it will come back, and it's right in line with what everything else that's already come back. It's like the next step. It's kind of 70-ish. All right, does that help, Blouson? Could the Xenia be made in a knit? Absolutely, absolutely. Xenia, yeah, the 600. This is pattern number 600. You could actually make the front in a woven and the back in a knit. You could change up the fabric and make the back soft and drapey. So many variables, you guys. The whole goal was to kind of just get you thinking about fringe and all kinds of fun stuff. Okay. The whole goal was to just get you going. I know you guys, once you get going, there's no stopping you. I've seen those pictures on Facebook and they're amazing. When you are measuring for proportions, where do you count the knee above the knee at the bend? Above the knee. Remember that everything looks better above the knee, so just go to above the knee. All right, are we good? We're doing good tonight. We're hot. This is the only available Xenia. It is. It's the only one we've got right now. And I don't know that I'll get any more in. It's hard to find. It's hard to find at a reasonable price. Is that fair? I don't want to bring Xenia in for $50 a yard. You know, if I'm going to put something at $50 a yard, it's going to be, not that Xenia is not great, but it's going to be super great. For the fringe, you're just cutting, I didn't do any extra yardage. I just did, it's only 12 by 11 and there's 4 squares. So 2 layers, you know, if you do, 2 yards would be enough to do it. I didn't have any extra fabric. I had enough space that I did. The only thing you got to consider is you got to do it with a stretch, so be sure you do it with a stretch. I don't have 650, but I have the rep dress. Can I just chop off the bottom for the blouse? Yes. Yes, you can. You sure can. Chop off the bottom. You could cut off the bottom. That might work a little more, you know, gently to cut it off rather than chop it off. Okay. All right, are we good? I think we have a trivia question. Do we have a trivia question? Okay, we have a trivia question. It's going to be online because if I ask it first, we'll screw it up. Is that right? We have a trivia question, you guys. The trivia question, the whole purpose of the trivia question is for those people who are watching it live, logged in, all that other stuff, is to say thank you for watching it live. We know a lot of people watch it after the fact, but I like that you guys are here, and I like that you've given up this time to be here with us. It's fun. It is exciting for us, even though we're not in our pajamas. But it's really a fun time for us, so I appreciate that you be there. So we give a $50 gift certificate out to one viewer who answers our trivia question. We've been doing this now for 3 years or whatever it's been, and we'll keep on. Just our little way to say thank you for watching it live. What happens is you can email me, Peggy, at silhouettepatterns.com, whoever the winner is, and then I'll email you back a coupon code, and that coupon code is good, worth $50 to anything that you want to purchase online. And it's good for 6 months, so you don't have to spend it right away. All right, so here's a trivia question, and they have it already, right? Oh, once I ask it. Okay. For our friends in Ireland, where is the burial place of St. Patrick? We're looking for a town. What is the burial place of St. Patrick? And you all know we just had St. Patrick's Day last week. Hope y'all wore your green or got some mighty fine pinching going on. I always say I wear green underwear on that day. Or it's green. Never mind. We won't go there. Who knows? Good answer. Who knows? Who cares, right? No, now remember, we've got friends all over the world now that we talk to. We ship to Ireland all the time, and we want to participate in their holidays and their traditions and their understanding. We're global girls, so of course we care. We have a winner. Does she live in Ireland? Do you live in Ireland, winner? Okay, so where's the burial of St. Patrick? Downpatrick? Downpatrick is the name of the town. You could have guessed that. Downpatrick in Ireland. All right, see if you just... We didn't ask it to be silly. That's the burial place of St. Patrick's Day. So that's really where St. Patrick's Day started its festive and started its activities, was there at the burial site. And so now we get to all share, and since we're all sharing in the celebration, we should at least know where it started and where the poor guy's buried, right? All right, ladies. Well, thanks so much for being here. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be back with the pattern of the month for April. We'll announce it in a couple weeks. I think the date of our next webcast is maybe April 8th. Would that be a possibility? Or April 7th? We're going to look real quick. April 6th. No, not yet. April 6th. It's still April 6th. We'll be here in 2 weeks. We'll pick up the pattern of the month for April. It's a surprise. We won't tell you yet. Casey's 5-way top is the pattern of the month for March, and you have a few more days. It is hard for me to believe that March is drawing to a close. And one thing I learned is if you live in Boston, you're really happy to see March go because you just don't want a repeat of anything that happened in February or March. But the good news is the snow is only about 4 feet high right now. It actually is melting. It was 15 degrees Sunday. You guys, it's really cold there. So stay inside, sew, get a whole bunch of sewing done, get caught up on the webcast, and thanks so much for watching. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Good night. Bye for now.